Lysergic acid diethylamide, also known as LSD, animal, tabs, beast, acid, SID, window pane, and white lightning, is a semi-synthetic psychedelic drug, or hallucinogen. It was first synthesized in 1938 and is a manufactured form of lysergic acid, which occurs naturally in ergot, a type of fungus that grows on wheat, rye, and other grains. It is typically manufactured as a white crystalline powder but can be diluted into an odorless, colorless, bitter-tasting liquid. It is typically sold on the street as a capsule or tablet, but can also be found in liquid form. It is most often seen as a water paper soaked in the liquid and distributed as small decorated squares, with each square representing a single dose. It may also be sold on sugar cubes or as a thin gelatin known as a window pane. LSD is most often administered orally, but it can also be injected, inhaled, or transdermally applied, as the liquid form can be absorbed into the skin. LSD works by disrupting the neurotransmitter serotonin, and most prominently affects the cerebral cortex and locus coeruleus. Strength may vary from 20 to 80 milligrams per dose in average users to 100 to 200 milligrams per dose in more experienced users looking for a greater high. Effects can be unpredictable and can be dependent on dosage, mood, personality, expectations, and surroundings. Typical psychological effects include hallucinations, delusions, increased color perception, altered mental state, impaired depth, time, and space perception, as well as mood swings. Physiological effects include tachycardia, hypertension, sweating, dilated pupils, loss of appetite, tremors, dry mouth, sleepiness, and trouble with talking. Sensation and feelings change much more dramatically than physical effects, and sensations may cross over, making the user feel they are hearing colors or seeing sounds. Hallucinations and delusions typically occur at a higher dosage, while altered feelings and perceptions can occur at a lower or a higher dosage. The experience of taking LSD is known as a trip, while negative experiences are called bad trips. These bad trips lead to severe terrifying thoughts and feelings, fear of losing control, fear of insanity and death, and even despair. The effects begin after 30 to 90 minutes of oral administration and peak at 2 to 4 hours in, and diminish after 6 to 8 hours, although the trip may end up lasting up to 12 hours. LSD is not considered addictive as it does not produce the same compulsive drug-seeking behavior as cocaine and heroin would, and most users will voluntarily decrease or stop usage over time. The likeliness of tolerance is not concretely known, as most users do not take it continuously. However, repeated users tend to increase dosage as they seek a greater high. No symptoms of withdrawal from LSD have been observed, but some effects may be prolonged, such as mania, long-lasting psychosis, and flashbacks. These flashbacks can occur hours, weeks, or even a year after taking LSD. Overdose is possible but highly unlikely, as the lethal dose is exceptionally high. Most common dangers arise from what is called behavioral toxicity, which is an uncharacteristic or abnormal behavior, such as suicidal thoughts or feeling superhuman, brought on by the drug. LSD was internationally in an experimental capacity in the 1950s and 1960s by governments to explore the possibilities of mind control, interrogation, and social engineering. It was most heavily used by the public in the 1960s and 1970s, typically at 100 to 200 milligrams per dose. The lowest recording of the users in youth and young adults occurred in the 1980s. Use of LSD in that age group has increased since then in the 1990s and early 2000s, but a slight decline in users was observed more recently. Currently, LSD is a Schedule I drug in the United States and Germany, Schedule III drug in Canada, ranked as a Class A drug in the UK, ranked as a hard drug in the Netherlands, and is decriminalized in Portugal.